I am back and I am excited again to continue talking about our topic this month, self care. And specifically today, I want to really share my tips with you in what I do when I think about self care, but ultimately, what do I do to make sure that I have time for everything and that allow myself the time to take care of myself. And one of the things that I really want to focus on around is, well, there are four tips that I really want to share with you. But ultimately, before we even get into it, I want you to know that there are so many different strategies out there. And of course, what I'm going to be sharing with you is not the end all be all. And if you do these things, you're going to achieve ultimate success. I'm not saying that these are miracle cures, but I can tell you that these elements or strategies have really worked for me and for my clients. And especially when we are juggling our responsibilities, and it's really really hard to make sure that we are not feeling guilty at the end of the day. Like for me, as being a mom, where I'm always focusing on work or vice versa, and feeling guilty when I'm hanging out with the kids and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there are so many other things that I needed to do for work. And so these four strategies I'm sharing for you to really take on in your life if it makes sense. But I can also see that there's value to really changing up the ways that you have been doing things too, and maybe trying one of these strategies, couple it with or integrate it with some of the strategies that you're already working on. But one of the first things that's really super important is that, I don't know about you, but I created my business because I wanted to have the flexibility, the time freedom, and I want to be in charge of my schedule. So you have really get to wrap your head and your mind around the concept of designing work around your life. Okay, this is what I mean by that. So if you had a 9 to 5, you're going at 9, you leave at 5, there's not much you can do. But when you have a business, you have the luxury to work your life around. So basically work your design your work to work around your life. For example, if you have, children, young children like me, who you have to get to school in the morning, maybe you all start work at 10 a.m. versus 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. And you will be closing work, in the summer around 5, so you can spend time with the kids. So you can do all of that. So what it does is allows you the opportunity to do what you need to do and not feel guilty when you have to do something else for work related to. So I suggest that you build a schedule like that. Integrate your work around your life versus the other way around. Okay. And it's important to know that also with that, what is your ultimate um, ideal schedule? It's like too, because again, we don't have or start our businesses because we want to be a slave to it. You have to really know what your ideal schedule is like for you. What's important for you? Is it important for you to have breakfast? For me, that's important. Like I want to spend time with my first meal of the day. For some, it may not be that important. So you have to be able to really understand what it is that you want to strive for. Like what kind of lifestyle do you want to live while you're building your business and, running a family, right? So it's important that you design your work around your lifestyle and your ideal lifestyle. That's the first tip. And then how can you do all of that, right? So the second most important tip I want to really share is that the reason why we're running around feeling scattered, not really knowing what to really do and things like that, is because we're not being proactive with our planning, or what it is that I say, plan to plan. Like you have got to know what you are, what's in store for the day, right? So I recommend for you to spend at least 1 hour of planning per week for the next week. So for example, with my schedule, I work, I close work early on Friday, so I usually plan the following week, the last hour of my last day of working. So at 3 p.m. on Friday. So whenever that is for you, ensure that you have that time to plan so you know what needs to be done for next week, what's outstanding from the current week. And then even that you have an idea of, okay, what's happening on like on the weekends too. Like, do you have any events that you need to take the kids to? Are you spending time with them? Is it a layback kind of weekend? Things like that. I highly recommend it because then you know exactly what's happening. You are in control of it, of course, as much as possible. You know what to expect versus you just get up in the morning and not know what's going on that day. So really plan to plan. And I mean, we can spend all day talking about planning, but to start off, start with the weekly planning. Because ultimately, when you want to do weekly planning, monthly planning, quarterly planning, biannual planning, and then year-long planning, which is what we do as entrepreneurs, because you want to know what's going on this year, right? Like within the 12 month period, what's happening in your business, like what's going on, with your life. And I really say that I even plan for example, vacation the following year by October. Like I have dates already set up so I can finish my year end planning and then the new year planning by November. So because as you all know, right? Like when November hits, especially Thanksgiving, everything is in holiday mode and there's not much focus and like there's so much going on during that time. I know this past year has been different because of COVID and all, but really make sure that you have sound planning. If not annually, biannually, quarterly, like what entrepreneurs do, you can start with weekly planning. Like it's really important to know what's happening, what time, to do what and things like that. Then in that planning, you can also put in self-care time. That's why I'm really honing in on this concept of planning being the highest level of self-care, right? Planning is the highest level of self-care because I know exactly what needs to be done. So I don't feel guilty, when I'm playing with the kids, and I don't feel guilty working because I know that I'm going to be spending time with them. For example, we're going camping this weekend. So I'm working all the way through Friday afternoon and then prep for our camping trip. So I know exactly what's happening. So I can be really present and I'm not scatterbrained when I'm doing things. Okay. And then, even within the realm of planning, I also recommend what we call focus time. Each and every one of us have a time where we can focus best. And for most of us, it's early in the morning or late morning after we have had a long night or a restful night of sleep. That's only if you're getting enough sleep, right? Like that's another topic for another day. But focus time, spend at least 2 hours per day, every single day, working days, of course, focusing on what matters most or doing the work that requires the most focus. It could be writing, it could be strategic planning, or looking at analytics, looking at numbers. For me, definitely taking clients calls in the morning, because that's why I'm most fresh with my brain and my capacity to problem solve for them and things like that. So focus time is important. Know when you are operating at your best, and spend 2 hours per day every single day during the week, during the working week, to spend time on that. And then another really awesome tool that I love, 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 love to use, and I would recommend for you to do it too. And honestly, this doesn't have to be, if you're running a business. This could be in your professional life. If you have a regular job, 9 to 5, I highly recommend chunking your activities. Chunking activities, meaning like do the similar activities all together as much as you can. For example, if you have meetings, do meetings on Mondays. Most all of my meetings, usually administrative meetings and things like that, are on Mondays. Why? Because then you can plan out for the week what's going to be happening that week, right? So all the meetings are together. You can do client sessions together. You can teach classes or workshops kind of like back to back on the same day. You can do in person or meet and greets or, certain things like that. And then all marketing activities on one day, and then, all budgeting and whatnot on a particular day. So we call it Monday, Marketing Monday per se, or Administrative Monday, things like that. So the reason why is that when you know that there are different parts of the brain, right? Like you know that, and different parts of the brain have different functions. And when we do similar activities, the brain doesn't have to make that many adjustments to transition from one thing to the next. But on the other hand, if you are doing different activities, your brain and you even yourself have to make that adjustments, yourself. So it takes time for you to transition. Hence it costs you more time, where you can spend that time to be even more productive. So that's why the really benefit for chunky activities, so that way you're not wasting time and effort. Okay. So I'm really excited that you can take on one of these strategies and have it work for you, because these are strategies that I totally live by. I look forward to planning for the year, putting all of my vacation time down, all the time request time off. I don't really request off, but you know what I mean? Like block your time off and do everything your business around your vacation. So for example, I don't have too many lunches or not too many things going on in the summer because I'm going to be with the kids. And then usually things pick up for me after when the kids are in school, which is September. So things like that. And yeah, when is your anniversary, right? Like, do you make a point to go away or take a vacation or staycation, whatever it may be, for your anniversary, maybe your birthdays, things like that, right? Like really make sure that you have planning down, so that way you can take care of yourself, you can take care of your family, and then in turn you can do the work that you need to do to grow your business. So ultimately, planning, I know for some of you who do not favor structure, are like, oh, whatever, that's so hard. Like I like to be spontaneous and things like that. There's a place for that. But here's the thing, when you know that you have time to play eventually, when it's time to play, you can really be spontaneous. Because here's the thing, if you have supposed time off and you're worried about something that you didn't get a chance to do for work, trust me, you don't have the capability to be spontaneous. They're like to really enjoy yourself. So trust me, try this on even for 1 week and see how present you will be for yourself, how much more time you have so you can take care of yourself, and then how much time you have to play with the kids or like do your hobbies, and hang out with friends. So I'm telling you, planning is the highest level of self-care. And for those 4 reasons: plan and design your work around your life, plan to plan, focus time, and then last but not least, chunk your activities together. So that's what I have for you folks for this week. It's short and sweet. I just want to remind you that life doesn't have to be that hard. Like we really work on, simplifying things here. And those are the tips I really want to share with you this week. So until next week, I wish you a productive, relaxing, and focused energy type of week. Talk soon.